Trish, you and I have been around Austin and Republican politics enough to have heard
all kinds of things.
Yeah, every rumor. I mean, there was one a few years ago that Rick Perry was gay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's been out there forever.
But that's probably
right.
there for any politician who's on the rise, right?
And believe me, people have tried to chase that down. It's just not there. I don't think that he has, I mean, you never know. I don't think he has any skeletons like that in his closet. He does have some issues about property deals that he's done, that he's made a lot of money on with people who are his supporters. He's got issues with the Texas Emerging Technology Fund,
Right.
where he's overruled the
board that was supposed to steer the
board and steered money to companies that are owned by donors to his campaigns. He's got issues like you said, Gardasil, Trans-Texas Corridor, eminent domain. I mean, those are the kind of standard political.
The irony is that every Republican has those issues. I mean, Romney has Romney Care.
Right.
Even the guys that we're supposedly all waiting for, like Paul Ryan, has his vote on TARP. But at the end of the day, when people realize, okay, they all have them, and Perry has them too, I think it will have the effect of bringing him a little more back into that pack that Trish is talking about. And I don't know why Republicans are so worried about there being a pack. I mean, you know, what do we have, 14, 15 months?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, let there be a pack.
I mean, you would think since Perry got into the race that the primaries are over. This is Obama versus Perry, the way that's been structured. What I will tell you about Perry, and I think Jonathan would agree with me, is that the issues that he just talked about, which was Trans-Texas Corridor, eminent domain, property rights, you know, the speeding ticket issue, all that, you know, let's just get along with this or whatever. I mean, he's got...
Let's not forget MoFo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no question that he has some huge, you know, things to take advantage of. But, you know, whether it was the governor's race, whether it was the race against Kay Bailey Hutchison, where he started 20 points down, and he had all those issues in that race that she failed to take advantage of.
True.
And all he did was paint her as a inside the Beltway Washington insider. We don't need that. He's going to do the exact same thing. He is so incredibly adept at deflecting and staying on message, and a message that really resonates with the constituency. I mean, he's amazing.
The reason I bring up the cash thing
very
is
skilled
exactly
politician.
what you
Very
guys just
skilled.
said. If you're looking for hypocrisy in the Perry campaign, you don't need to run this silly and just embarrassing ad that just makes anyone who's opposed to Perry look bad. There are real hypocrisies that don't even require a lot of digging for Perry. You don't need to go this route. And I think...
You want the number?
Not yet.
At the end of the
I'll
show.
do my own research.
Okay.
I don't think that... I think this
No, you're
route
right.
just looks...
In fact, if I was
petty
Perry, I'd have run that ad myself. It's absolutely
But look,
good for him.
JT, that's not what this campaign is going to be about. And the Obama White House has already said so.
Right.
I mean, looking at, they said they are going to destroy Romney. They're going to.
Do you believe somebody in the White House told Politico they'd actually prefer to run against Perry? I find that hard to believe.
I think they prefer to run against this version of Rick Perry, yes.
Because he's more extreme?
Because it allows Obama to reposition himself as the
Moderate.
purple.
Right, as a closer towards the center.
Right.
The only grown-up in the room.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. By the way, is there room for anybody else? There's still speculation that poor Paul Ryan on vacation with his family, that he's coming around.
Yes.
People are pressuring Christie. I'm afraid Christie might actually, take his own life. He said that was the only way. Maybe he's going to have to do it. I mean, there seems to be this clamoring, Trish, no matter how many Republicans there are, and there's a heck of a lot of them, that somehow if just one more got in, then we'd have it all. We'd know what to do.
Salvation would occur.
Is there room for more? I mean, there's time, right?
There's time. Absolutely.
There's plenty of time, and remember, at this point 4 years ago, most people still had never heard of Barack Obama. It was Clinton's race to win on the Democratic side, and Fred Thompson. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
Fred Thompson.
We were all waiting on Fred and Rudy.
Well, I was going to say, Rudy Giuliani.
Giuliani was the front runner, and then Thompson jumped into the race in September, and he was the man to beat.
Right.
And guess what? It was
nothing.
It was McCain.
Right.
So I still think it's early. There's plenty of time. By October, I think the the filing deadlines for some of the primaries start to hit in October. So it's got to happen in the next 6 weeks.
I think there's room for somebody to jump in, but what it boils down to, Jack, is a ground game. And do you have the staff in place to be able to do that, and the ability to be able to raise money?
Right.
And
Because there's only so many ways to slice that
and
pie.
I think the other thing too, and Jonathan mentioned it, don't underestimate Rick Perry's ability to raise money. He is an incredible fundraiser, and at the end of the day,
just from Texas alone,
Right.
he's going to have an enormous amount of money.
right.
Right. What about these guys that are being talked about? Are any of them for real? Could any of them get in and be a serious contender?
I tell you,
I like Paul Ryan, but I almost get the feeling that these Republicans that are telling him to get in, I almost feel like they're trying to get rid of him. Because if he runs for president, doesn't he give up the seat in the House? And if he gives up the seat in the House, they don't have to worry about him with that annoying Ryan plan that keeps haunting them.
I tell you, for Paul Ryan to take a vacation at a time of crisis like this,
How
that
could
is
he?
just
Who does
terrible.
he think he is? But seriously, I don't see any upside to him for that. I don't think that's a good idea, and I like him a lot.
Yeah, I don't know about Ryan, but Christie, I think there are a lot of Republicans, especially a lot of traditional Republicans, business, Chamber of Commerce type Republicans, who are lukewarm about Romney, but would be really enthused
About Christie.
about Christie. And a lot of people are, and that's the main thing, is if you look at the polls, most of the Republicans are really on the sideline right now. And Christie,
2016, don't you think?
maybe.
I mean, that's what he seems to have
Chris
that
Christie?
written on his forehead. Obama gets reelected. I told
But
you.
here's the thing about Christie, is Christie in comparison to Rick Perry. Rick Perry has been the governor of a state where every statewide official is a Republican.
Right.
Since 2002, Republicans have controlled the House and the Senate. So he's controlled the agenda in Texas. Chris Christie is the governor of a blue state with a Democratic legislature.
A state that looks like Washington.
And he has made the kind of changes that Washington needs to make. And
Right.
that's
I
what
agree.
gives Christie an advantage over
But he's
Perry.
too smart to get into this race now. He's
Maybe.
too smart. And he's only been governor 2 years. You know, people are going to say, what's that? What have you done? You know. And I think that's what they're going to say about Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
And can we stop pretending we have to take Michelle Bachmann seriously? I mean, enough already. All right? I'm done with that. I haven't decided who I'm for, but I know who I'm definitely ruling out. And it isn't even the Elvis thing, Trish, but just like that. Today I'm reading about how she's been attacked for her work as a tax lawyer. And she did work on behalf of the IRS. And she's saying you have to get to know your enemy. So I guess we're supposed to believe that the tax lawyer work was actually like an undercover assignment.
Yeah.
Black Ops.
I mean,
Same
what the
thing with her
heck?
foster parenting and her work as a government official, and the percentage of her life that has been on the government's dime.
Now I'm thinking the Newsweek photo might have been, maybe they did pick the best picture that they got.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was, the Newsweek cover photo was a little over the top. And as the only female in the room here, I'm all about a strong female, in a leadership position. But I'm with you. I don't think it's Sarah. It's not Sarah Palin.
Are
it's
we
not Michelle
tougher
Obama.
on these women, or are these women that have come to the fore just a little less than they need to be?
I think it's both. I do think it's both.
Yeah. Because
I mean, I
I
think
could
there's
turn that
somebody-
around and say that I'm not sure Michelle Bachmann would even be this far if she was Michael Bachmann, the congressman from Minnesota. I
Right.
mean, she'd be just another politician. People wouldn't know who she was.
Yeah, but they would never put, and Newsweek never has put, Barack Obama on the cover
Exactly.
in a jogging
Crazy
suit,
eyes.
in a jogging suit,
Right.
getting ready to do
Yeah,
his
I mean, I
aerobics.
do think it's over the top.
And they've never put a photo of Obama on the cover where he looks like he's just been-
Crazy.
yeah.
But I mean, as men get into a race, they instantly join the pack of all the other men.
Right.
If you're the only woman running, I mean,
Absolutely.
that is an advantage. I'm not saying it's an unfair advantage, but it's an advantage.
Is she
Well,
the
and
only
I think
woman
here's the
running
deal
now?
too. When the first debate
Sarah
came out,
Palin.
I think that
Stop these Rick Perry or
I
gay
mean,
rumors.
JT's got a good
Stop
point.
them.
What's he say?
The one person who we haven't mentioned is Sarah Palin.
Is there any doubt, right? I mean,
I don't
or
think
is that bus tour just happened to be at every politically salient point at the exact
Hey,
moment?
sometimes bus tours are just about creating jobs and discussing the economy. Did you know that, Jason?
Right, yeah, that's...
I mean, she might decide at the end of the day to jump into it, but I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Because you know what? I don't think Palin has any credibility as a politician anymore. She's a celebrity.
Yep.
She's not a politician.
Is her endorsement Some
And
people say that's the golden grail here, is whoever she endorses. I don't even think that's true. I'm not sure that's even true, because
Right.
won't her endorsement be of somebody we expect it to be of?
Right.
I mean, it might be a shocker if she endorsed Romney. That might be a game changer. But since we know the only people she'll endorse are people like Governor Perry or Congressman Bachmann, where's the headline in that? Right?
Yeah.
And
thing
one more
is-
thing: is there any reason to believe that Rick Perry could wind up as somebody's running mate? Because I've heard people put the math together and say, "Oh boy, Romney."
Yeah, it could be.
But is he? You guys know him better than I do. Can he lower himself to that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. He's been the chief.
He's in it to win it.
He's been the chief
absolutely.
executive for 11 years. 4 years ago, I would have said, yeah, he might have taken a second spot to McCain, with the assumption that McCain would not serve more than one term, and then Perry would have been in the position to run as the presidential
Yeah.
candidate. He's not in it to be a vice president.
I
No.
don't think at this point in his career, that
Yeah,
he's in
why
it
would
to
you
be
do that?
exactly. I don't think it makes any sense.
So that's not going to happen.
No.
So this is all or nothing for him.
I think so.
I think so.
Is it the only time he would run? Would he run again in 4 years?
I don't know. Things change so much.
He's a
in
young
4
guy.
years.
I mean, for a guy in his 60s,
you're right.
he's a
I mean,
young
things
looking
change
guy, right?
change so much in 4 years. It could be, but I think it depends on, how he fares in this election, how beat up he is, how exposed he is, how those negatives resonate with people.
Should he be compared to Reagan?
He's not a compassionate conservative.
Oh boy, I haven't heard that term in a long time. Compassionate conservative.
I don't think,
Let's retire that.
and you know what? I don't think he wants to be.
He doesn't want to be.
No.
So he's not Reagan-esque. You're shaking your head, Jonathan.
No, I don't.
Because isn't that what people are waiting for? We're waiting for the second coming, and they act
Well, Rick
as if
Perry
this
is not
it.
the second coming
He's
of
not
Ronald
it.
Reagan.
Would we recognize the first coming of Reagan if he arrived in the Republican Party today? I don't
Would
think
Reagan
so.
win the nomination if it was his
I don't
first
think
run?
so. I don't think he would.
I think they think of him as a center right.
He'd be a rhino.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or a
Right.
rhino.
Yeah,
or
Big
something.
Ten is
Yeah.
bad.
Right.
All right, it's 10:41. More Gang of Four coming up on News Talk 550 KTSA with all the headlines. Here's Karen. Has their own public relations and advertising company, and also ran for mayor in 2009. I don't know if this is something new or what, but it seems like the White House gives us a lot of advance notice about speeches the president's going to give. Like, we've been told that next month the president will give this job speech, almost like a movie trailer, coming soon. It seems like you used to find out about a presidential speech shortly before, maybe the night before it was given. Given the economic indicators, the gyrations of the market, the fact that 26% of Americans approve of his performance on the economy, the fact that 11% of Americans think the country is headed in the right direction, that is going to have to be a hell of a speech, isn't it, Trish?
Absolutely.
I mean, what's he going to have? He's going to have to perform some sort of, Chris Angel
Like
type
magic,
trick.
exactly, to be able to garner that attention. What
What can that do?
What I'm trying to get past right now is the whole positioning of the listening tour.
Yeah.
You know?
With the
When
Darth Vader buses.
When did that ever happen?
I don't know.
You know?
All of this, Jonathan, seems
It's very
incredibly calculated, but not wisely
No, agreed.
calculated.
Well, from what I've read of the components of this tremendous job
plan,
creation
yeah.
program, it's the same pieces that he's already talked about. It's patent reform.
Which is what we've all been clamoring for,
Right.
haven't we?
Yeah, patent reform? Yes.
Every
that's
day
exactly
I
what
say
mean.
that. If only we could reform patents.
Creating an infrastructure bank
Yes.
and more stimulus spending.
In a
it-
Department of Jobs.
Right, in a Department of Jobs. And
Because
so,
we need more bureaucracy.
so if you-
That's the answer.
and he just did this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, after the debt ceiling
Right.
compromise. So he can't come back and say the same thing that quickly. And on the other hand, he can't look like he's not in touch or showing awareness of the terrible job situation in the country. So what do? You say, I'm working on something and I'm going to have it ready in a month.